You know their names: Khamzat Chimaev, Islam Makhachev, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Some of the biggest superstars in modern UFC seen again and again beside one man, Ramzan Kadyrov, honorary member of Russia's Nightwolves motorcycle club and the authoritarian ruler of Chechnya, who governs his republic with the loyalty, fear, and violence of a ruthless gang leader, not a politician. Chimaev has handed him championship belts. Makhachev has appeared at his public events. Khabib has dined and joked with him, all under the global spotlight. To UFC fans, these images look like routine visits. To Chechens, they look like something else entirely. Proof that even the world's toughest fighters bend to Kadyrov's influence. But nothing reveals the true cost of that proximity more clearly than what happened to one man who stood even closer to the regime than any UFC champion, Abdul Karim Edilov. On December 29, 2022, Chechen activists reported the sudden, unexplained death of Edilov, once Kadyrov's favorite fighter, the public face of Akhmat MMA, and a rising political figure. There was no state announcement, no tribute, not a word from Kadyrov himself. Months earlier, Edilov had already disappeared from public life. His Instagram was wiped. His government roles were quietly removed. His final resignation posted without explanation. Dissidents claim he was detained, tortured, and killed after a conflict with Kadyrov's nephew. Others say he was punished after alleged drug use inside the dictator's inner circle. No one outside the regime knows the exact truth. But inside Chechnya, people understand one thing. Edilov's fate wasn't an accident. It was a warning. And to understand why, you need to understand Kadyrov, the man who rules Chechnya like his own personal state. Everything changed on May 9, 2004. A bomb detonated beneath the VIP seating area in Grozny Stadium. Akhmat Kadyrov, Chechnya's Kremlin-backed president and Ramzan's father, was killed instantly, with reports that he was assassinated. And even though he was his father's head of security, Ramzan wasn't there. He was in Moscow, where he met Russian President Vladimir Putin the next morning. Within months, Ramzan was controlling his father's militia. Within 3 years, he became president of Chechnya, backed, financed, and protected by Putin and his own private army, the Kadyrovites. From day one, Kadyrov didn't behave like a government leader. He behaved like a showman. Luxury cars, pet tigers, MMA gyms, and a constant parade of celebrities, athletes, and influencers. One of his most theatrical moves came in 2014, when he inducted himself into Russia's most notorious biker gang, the Night Wolves, led by Alexander the Surgeon Zaldistanov, tied directly to Vladimir Putin. Putin has ridden with them, awarded them medals, and used them as nationalist foot soldiers. Kadyrov not only joined the Night Wolves, he opened a branch in Grozny. But behind the theatrics lies the brutal force that actually maintains his grip on Chechnya. The Kadyrovites, Chechen fighters embedded across Russia's security forces that are widely feared. On paper, they serve Moscow. In reality, they obey Kadyrov alone. Human rights groups describe them as a secret terror squad and a personal militia accused of kidnappings, torture, executions, violent purges of LGBTQ+ people, and suppressing dissent in Chechnya. And in 2009, Kadyrov's reach was exposed far beyond Chechnya. Umar Izrailov, Kadyrov's former bodyguard, accused Kadyrov and the Kadyrovites of taking part in torture. He was shot dead on a Vienna street after fleeing to Austria for asylum. Austrian investigators said Izrailov was supposed to be kidnapped and taken back to Chechnya, and that he was killed when he tried to escape. The gunman vanished and has never been caught. In 2011, 3 Chechens with ties to Kadyrov's circle were convicted and given sentences ranging from 16 years to life. But prosecutors couldn't formally charge Kadyrov. Every attempt to question him was ignored, and human rights groups called the murder part of a broader pattern. Kadyrov's opponents don't just disappear in Chechnya. They can disappear anywhere. The Kadyrovites are the men in the background of nearly every photo with Kadyrov. They are the men standing beside Edilov at his UFC fights. They are the men surrounding UFC fighters during their visits to Grozny. And they are the reason declining Kadyrov's invitation is not just a PR decision, it's a security risk. Edilov started as a promising MMA prospect, but fighting wasn't his real job. Edilov lived in the inner circle, becoming a trainer, minder, and guardian for Kadyrov's teenage sons. And he was rewarded lavishly for it. But then suddenly, it was all gone. So why do fighters keep going to Chechnya? Because to Chechens, Kadyrov is not a fight fan. He is a dictator with the power to destroy families. For fighters like Chimaev, Makhachev, and even Khabib, Refusing Kadyrov isn't an option. It's seen as disrespect. He uses fighters the same way he uses biker gangs, soldiers, and celebrities, as props to legitimize his power. And they comply, because in Chechnya, even fame doesn't guarantee safety. Edilov's disappearance shows exactly what happens when someone inside the system displeases the man at the top.